Morning, everyone. It's 9 o'clock on March 9th, 2023, which is the time and place of the Bismarck Parking Authority's monthly meeting. Looks like we have a quorum present, so I'll call the meeting to order and ask for consideration of the minutes from our last meeting. Any changes, corrections, questions on the minutes? If not, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Also move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. No further discussion. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. That motion carries. We'll move on to the regular agenda, starting with the financial statements. Jeremy, would you like to lead us through any extraordinary items?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So this is already for month 2 of the new year. We're on track for budget on the income side of things. There's no irregularities on the expense side of things. We did on the real estate, just to point out the real estate taxes portion, that's for what we get assessed on the commercial side of the parkade building. So that bill got paid in February. And our reserve balance is $1,375,545.
Questions of management regarding the financials? Questions? I have one. We're at 25,000 into snow removal already. Where does that stack up? Oh, bad pun. Compared to a typical year or last year?
Atypical.
Atypical. Yeah.
Of course, I think I had heard, 15 inches away from the record that was set in '96. So we are, I think we put in, if I remember right, I'd have to just check.
Yeah, I don't have the
here,
budget in front of me. Just kind of
40
curious.
Yeah. So we did do 40,000 for snow removal budget, which is about double what we normally would budget for, knowing that going in,
Right.
we'd have some carryover bills from the December snow hauling. So we will likely meet that here before year end.
Okay. And are you able to actually still stack and pile snow, or are you hauling it?
So we in the ramps, we actually do stack and pile on the rooftops. Only so high for load bearing and whatnot, but it's in the surface lots where we have to haul each time, and that gets quite costly.
Okay. Other questions? Anybody? No, hearing, seeing none, would have a motion to approve the minutes, or excuse me, the financials.
I so move.
Todd moves, or a second?
Second.
By Josh. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please, Sue.
Josh?
Yes.
Kyle?
Yes.
Todd?
Yes.
Jake?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes, that motion carries. Item 3 on the agenda would be to review capital project statuses. Jeremy?
Yep, Mr. Chairman and Parking Authority board members, just to give an update on where we're at for the proposed projects that we had set, we proposed to you guys last month for the budget. And the engineer drawings and engineer services for the parkade repairs that was approved a few meetings back, those engineering drawings are done. Walker has completed those, and they're ready to be used to advertise for bids for RFP for those particular repairs. And we actually have dates set, so we're going to be publishing that starting next week, and with bid opening on April 5th. For the purple level tendon repair and the exit spiral repairs that are subsets A and B as part of that repair project. Parkade ramp, exterior concrete steps, we are collecting bids for that. The threshold budget of that project is right around $25,000, so we're just going out for bid on that. Parkade ramp traffic coating, again, checking with suppliers, contractors that do that sort of work, just to get a preliminary budget number. Something like that would likely need to go out for RFP, but we want to see what that scope would be first. Jumping on to equipment, our infamous Nilfisk sweeper machine that's been on delay for almost 2 years now. We did get an update that it is just awaiting a front bumper assembly is the only part. But they could not give us a definite date still as far as a ship date. But apparently they have one reserved for us. And then finally, security cameras upgrades. We're finalizing some maps on coverage areas. There's a few extra spots that we'd like to add some cameras to, so we're just revising that to put together for our bid packets. Should just be a couple months out before we have that finalized.
questions of Jeremy on any of these items?
One, Jeremy, just kind of from my own nosiness, but are our security cameras, do the police ever ask for that kind of information in the event of a crime?
Yeah, actually, quite frequently, they do, yeah, if there's ever an event or, yeah.
Other questions? I have a couple, maybe, or one anyway. Back up on the engineering drawings and services. Do we have an estimate for that? What that is going to cost us at this point
So,
for those repairs, I should say?
right, so for just the engineer scope and on-site management of the project, the total scope of that was approved from the board was 100, and this was the one that went out for RFP
Right.
About 3 months ago. Anyway, that's $119,300 for the full scope.
And then was there an engineer's estimate on the actual repairs? Is what I-
Oh, on the actual repairs, for both projects, I don't recall specifically or exactly, but I think it was right around 250,000.
Okay. Okay. Other questions? This is just an update on these projects, all of which are in some state of approval or moving forward, so we don't really need a motion on this,
Right.
but it's just a FYI. Item 4 on the agenda would be to review your report on the monthly spaces sold, Jeremy.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Parking Authority Board members. Parking Authority Board member Jake Axman actually had a suggestion to us, which was a great idea, that we add a column to our typical monthly sold report that would include the count number of what the peak day of any one month is on the total quantity of vehicles in each of our ramps. And so with our new gate technology, we're able to get a count or report count of by hour actually how many vehicles are in each lot. And so just for simplicity purposes of reporting, we are putting what that peak number was from whichever day of the month had the highest usage at any one time. And so what this information will allow us to do is to see, look at trends and averages of where, if we're not at full capacity, how much oversell we could potentially add to these ramps. So that's what those numbers are showing in the column that we named peak day number of users, and it's data from the previous month. So this report is as of March 1st of how many monthly users, customers we have per ramp, and then the actual peak number then would be from month previous.
Is that the information you were looking for, Jake? Pretty much?
Yeah, this is, I think, very helpful. We can kind of, as Jeremy just summarized, I think we can track how many people are actually using the ramp versus how many spaces we've actually sold and see if there's an ability to oversell additional stalls. So I think the information that was provided here is helpful, and it's also a little bit eye-opening, too. It appears, just from this small sample size, it appears maybe we could consider some additional oversell. But I think it's something we track for several months before we make that decision.
I concur. It's eye-opening information, good information. Thank you for doing this, Jeremy. And staff. Anybody have any questions on this report? Okay. Anything else you'd like to add on that, Jeremy?
Another just quick comment, because, for instance, like as an example, 6th Street ramp, we're at 126% capacity sold, but the peak number, with our total spaces of 500, only 348 at a peak time was being used, and that's our biggest customer there is Sanford, and there's a lot of shift work that goes on, so there's traffic in and out and that sort of thing, and so that's why it's not showing like a peak number of 500 plus. So that's where that differentiation comes into play.
Okay. Good information. We have a short agenda today, which probably won't bother anybody. Anyone have any other business? Kate from the Downtowners texted me this morning. She's not feeling well this morning. So, Kate, if you're watching, we hope you're feeling better. She didn't really have much of a report. I would add that she and I and others appeared before the Senate committee earlier this week on House Bill 1266, which is to allow Renaissance zones to come back to life after they've gone to sleep. And there was no one appearing in opposition to that. It was in the House a month ago. It's a House bill. And so it looks like it's going to hopefully be approved by the full Senate and go to the governor for signature, which would mean there's no emergency clause attached to this legislation. Would take effective August 1, would be when it would allow Bismarck, if the community wants to come back and revive our Renaissance zone, we would then go back to the political subs again for the letter of support, and there would be no other changes to the program. So it's a very clean bill. It was introduced by Representative Doctor, and it had a lot of great support obviously from the locals, but around the state. There is another bill, the Senate bill, that's working its way through. It's over in the House now after crossover. It's a bit of there's more changes in that particular bill. The two bills are hopefully not going to be merged. They're going to stay separate because, again, the sole purpose of House Bill 1266 is to allow reinstatement of Renaissance zones once they've expired. The other bill, the Senate bill, I don't remember the number of it, the city and the park or the Renaissance Zone Authority stayed neutral on that bill. If it passes, it will allow tax exemptions up to 8 years, for instance, instead of 5 years. Again, subject to the review and the approval of the local authorities. There are some more expansions of the program, if you will, and I don't know what the fate of that particular bill is going to be. So, but having said that, we're already hearing chatter. There are projects that are waiting in the wings, and one of them is going to be the surface lot kitty corner from here that we had RFP for a year ago, and hopefully another one which wouldn't be a Renaissance Zone project, but if the Heart Hospital moves forward, we're going to need to start talking about additional parking structures, off-street parking in downtown Bismarck. So I see that as a good thing. It just was delayed a year for whatever reason. So that's my update on behalf of Kate and the downtowners. Any questions on that? Not much more to say about that. Daniel, do you have anything you wish to add from the city's perspective? Janelle? No? Janelle, come on. We know you like to come up here. Nope, not going to happen. Any other business? Anybody have anything else for the good of the order today?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Jeremy.
I just have two items that came in after the agenda went out, so they're not listed as subsets under other business. But Walker Consulting did invoice us for a partial billing of the completed engineered drawings. And so I guess before the board, just a pay request today. Their invoicing amount is 60% of the billing of the engineered drawings scope of the work, which is $22,400.33. So, pay request on that.
$22,433. We'd
Right.
entertain a motion to approve that payment. Someone like to make that motion?
I'd make a motion to approve that payment.
To Walker. Thank you, Jake. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Todd. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please. Sue?
Josh?
Yes.
Kyle?
Yes.
Todd?
Yes.
Jake?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes, that motion carries. Other one, Jeremy?
And last item, just FYI, that CRA Group has the brochure published and listed for the old Thrifty Way space at the Parkade, so it is officially on the market.
Okay. Do we know if CRA Group's getting any hits? You probably don't know. Okay. No, I saw the brochure, and it looks good, so fingers crossed we'll pick up a new tenant soon. Other business, anybody? Other business? If not, and if there's no objection, we stand adjourned until April 13th. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.